Welcome to today's episode of Mental Health Matters. I'm here today with Mr. Herman Mbono and his daughter Vadea. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today we are talking about what it really means to raise children in the 21st century, the joys, the mistakes, and the struggles no one prepares you for. Parenting is like walking on a tightrope. You want to protect your kids, but you also have to allow them to grow in a world that never stops changing. Let's talk about the mental load, not just for kids, but for parents too. Mr. Herman Bono,
Yes.
welcome to our podcast.
Thank you very much.
Would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes. My name is Herman Bunusufu. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this podcast to share light on parenting in an African perspective. I'm an immigrant from Cameroon, has been here since 2008. I'm a dad, 2 kids. I'm a worker. I'm a nurse by profession for over 12 years, and I'm also an entrepreneur with my own business that we just kickstart. It's a teleconsultation business or Joy Telesanté. So my passion is really to be a good parent or to support good parenting, as well as um, support people with mental health challenges to be able to get an affordable, non-judgmental mental health services in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Vadel, welcome back to our podcast.
Thank you.
Would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
All right. So, hi, everyone. My name is Vadel. I am currently a McGill undergrad student studying in international development. And I'm also a social entrepreneur. So I'm co-founder of a business called Cameron's Jewels. Well, it's a jewelry nonprofit. So we sell jewelry sourced directly from African vendors, and we reinvest the profits into African youth education and everything regarding African youth empowerment.
Thank you. So today we are talking about parenting in this 21st century, the changes and the difference that we see. So what are some of the differences that you notice with parenting as compared to how you were raised?
Good question. I mean, uh, the one of the difference that I've noticed in the Western world, traveling or being abroad, is that you raise your child as with your spouse, or with you raise your child with your spouse. Meanwhile, growing back home, it was a community that grew a child, right? They say when we're growing up, I remember when I was growing, it was the whole community. If you do something wrong, your neighbor is going to correct you the right way without any regret. But here it's just you, it's your family, it's your spouse that figure out how to bring up the kid. So with us, it said it took the whole village to raise a child. Um, but right now, the hardest part, like now in Canada, has been to balance discipline and as well as let the children be. That's the hardest part. It's a work in progress.
So you are saying that the way you grew up, the concept was a child belongs to the village, to the whole community, not actually to the individual parent or parents. That's nice. So do you sometimes ever feel the pressure to be a perfect parent?
Absolutely. Growing up like where I came from and being where I am today, the goal of every parent is for your child to be at least one step further than what you were, right? You want them to succeed, and that creates that pressure on you. Are they doing well? Are they going to succeed? But I've learned to to listen to my kids, to listen to Fidel, because sometimes we want them to succeed. We have our own ideas. We have our own premise of success. They have their own. So the most important thing is to listen, have a dialogue, and get a fine balance. See, also at the same time staying as a parent, staying disciplined at the same time.
That's right, Vadel. You are growing up in this 21st century with your dad and your mom. What are some of the biggest misunderstandings that parents and children face today?
I think some of the biggest misunderstandings is in terms of values and the way that we communicate those values. Like,
Yes.
I think that in terms of family values, of course, those are established together. But then when it comes to like other things that you value, whether it's things that you love or things that you're passionate about, it's like, let's say it's hard to communicate those values in a way that is going to be let's say understood and taken the right way. I think that's probably what I would say, yeah.
Okay. And talking about communication, how do you relate to your parents?
So I think that over time their parenting style has changed and developed for the better. I think because I would say that I'm a little bit hard-headed and I don't really like I'm hard-headed in a good way, right? Some I would say in a good way. But I think that they've learned to understand that like, they've tried different parenting where they know that maybe screaming doesn't really work with me, and they know that the way to really try to get to me is just through like dialogue and like calm communication, and they know that that's the only way I would really ever open my mind to listening, because I am really hard-headed. So yeah, I think that's in terms of communication, that's really the best way to go about it.
So I'm curious when you say you're hard-headed. So you mean like you speak out whenever you need like speaking out?
Well, yes, that too, but it's just that like if I don't genuinely um if I don't genuinely agree with what is being said, I'm just not going to listen, which is, I guess, I think that part, I think my hard-headedness has worked for me so far in life, but um I think that a huge part is just that when people come, it depends, because personally for me, when like screaming starts, any type of listening that can take place completely is gone. Like as soon as like the voice starts getting raised, anything like that's completely, any message you were trying to get out the door, completely lost.
But you don't raise your voice though
No, 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 no,
towards
no. I
them.
never do that.
Okay.
No, never.
When you don't listen, but do you express to them freely to say, okay, this is what you are saying, but this is my opinion. So
Yeah.
I don't agree with this opinion. Respectfully though.
No, definitely, respectively. When I say I'm hard-headed, it's not a no. I don't. There's no talking back. There's no screaming. None of that. I find that's unacceptable. Parents, there's a mutual level of respect you need to have. But I do. I think over time I've learned to voice my opinion. Usually, I would just like before I would just stay quiet and just never really say anything. But then obviously I've learned and grown and matured and understood that communication is important, and you need to voice out, what you're thinking, because they're not going to magically understand, your opinion without you voicing those opinions.
Okay, that's awesome. Let's hear from Dad. I'm sure the way you grew up, the way you were communicating with your parents is actually totally different, because Vadel here is saying she's hard-headed and also she speaks her mind whenever she feels like speaking, respectfully though. So how had the world changed the way parents and children communicate?
I would say that, especially with her case, I have learned as a person and I've grown as a person through her professionally, with my friends and different things. Um, Growing up, like coming back to your question, growing up, the way we grew up, it was your dad or mom says something, there's no yes or no, you do it right away.
Yes.
Like
No negotiation.
there was zero negotiations. Not like, oh, but oh no. It was you do it right away. If not, you already know the consequence.
There will be.
You know the consequence. But things have changed many years ago. For now, my message to parents out there is that sometimes well, based on my own too, we mistake the kids trying to find out their independence with disrespect.
Yes.
So when they're growing up, the Erickson stage, I don't want to be an academic. You go through different stages of life, right? So for them, at a certain age, they're looking for their identity. They're looking for their independence, who they want to be. But for us as a parent, we still have that anxiety, that protectionist attitude that we want them to be okay, we want them to be right. We're always right. But I just think that, like Vadel is saying, my daughter is saying, um, we've tried different parenting style, but we found out that okay, the best way is to communicate, is to listen.
Yes.
Listen to what they're saying, listen to what they feel like, have a conversation with them. From there, you're going to understand what they feel, and then you can move forward better. And the more you talk, the more it's better, instead of just assuming things and my ways, highway or no way. I think we mistake their independence for disrespect.
That's true. So if you do listen, you open up the forum and platform, and you create a safer space that you communicate, because that way you're always in the loop of knowing what she's going through. If she has something, she'll always know I'll come to you to say something bothering. Because if you don't open that channel for listening and communicating, it means sometimes they are silent and they are suffer on their own, and sometimes we don't know the peer pressure and what they go through.
Correct.
However, I have issues because I've been somewhere where the mother actually was trying to tell the child not to do something, or sometimes they would ask them something, and then you ask them, they always ask you back why.
Okay. Like you ask the child.
Yes, or you say, please don't do that, they will say why.
Okay. Yeah, it's a common question. Like for kids, they will always ask you why. Why can't I do it? Why? But I think you have to take the time to listen to them and say the reason why. Don't just say, "Oh, because I'm the dad." So you have to go like this. It creates that friction. It breaks that communication. It creates that, yes, you're the dad or you're the mom of the house, you're the parent, but there should be some fluidity in communication. You should have that open space. So if they say why, I think it's our duty to tell them why in a rational way, right? And also listen to their response. Sometimes you're not always right as a parent. You might say because of X, Y, Z, and they said no, the X, Y, Z is actually give you more reasonable reason. You should always be open, like have an open mind. At the same time, having in mind or the goal of, you know, um, having your kids safe and making sure they have a better life for themselves.
Vadel, I'm curious because when we grew up, I think maybe me and your daddy, our parents, like my mom, she used to give us chores to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like in my family, we are a family of all girls. So we were given some duties to say, today you are the one who is cleaning and you are the one who is cooking. Even though we had a maid, but she would make sure that as girls, we had to do the chores together with the maid. Sometimes during the holidays or vacation, she would send the maid home for vacation, and then we'll remain home to do all the chores because she wanted to teach us to for our future. So, but I find your generation sometimes some children feel like being asked to do chores is not their duty. They are not supposed to do such kind. I just want to hear what's your opinion, because I find most parents in the houses, they are battling because they are expecting mom to come and make the bed, to come and clean after them. You eat, you leave something on the table or in your bedroom.
No, but on that, I think that obviously clean up after yourself. And I think my parents have communicated this to me a lot. But if you're living with people, like it's not even just about, oh, like do chores. It's just out of like respect for everybody that you're living with, right? Like everybody's doing their part in the home to keep it running. And they're also demanding of your part. So of course, I think that with those demands, it also has to come with, like, I think, what's the word? It also has to come with kind of a perspective of what your life looks like, right? Like, make those demands reasonable according to what their life looks like. Because let's say, I think that, for example, like the cooking that you're talking about and what your mom would ask you to do and everything, like I think in African tradition, there's like the role of like there's a typical role and expectation of what a woman is supposed to do in a home, right? And I think for my generation, a lot of us would disagree with that. But on the aspect of taking part in the home and doing chores, I completely agree with that. But where I would disagree is just when it becomes like a gendered aspect. Like when there's like, let's say if there's a boy and a girl, let's say the girl is getting assigned really specific things and more things compared to the son. Let's say maybe the son would get assigned like maybe work outside or something like that, but like dividing that, I I don't know, I would just say maybe mix the roles a little bit more and less, like, I think daughters especially get frustrated when they're expected to like w- when they're expected to do a lot of the cooking, a lot of the cleaning, when their brothers are not really not really doing anything, right? So it's, I mean, that's not the case for my part. I think everybody takes part in the home, everyone, including my dad. He's even in the kitchen. Very not typical for for the typical African dad, but I would say that for my friends, like the frustrating part for them is when they're expected to do so much in terms of taking care of the home, but their brothers are expected to do almost it's just like all they're expected to do is just pick up after themselves. That's it, the bare minimum. While the girls are expected to, okay, help your mom in the kitchen, do this, do that, have you done this, prepare food for everyone, did you dish your brother's food when your brother can go dish his own food? So I think that when it comes to responsibility, it's important to think of it as like a whole, right? And not really. I think we need to move a little bit away from the gendered aspect of it.
So I can see now what Vadeo had said, that I'm hard-headed. She's actually totally against the generalizing aspect.
Yes, it's,
So yeah, so I'm sure you are facing that home that is saying, no difference here when it comes to roles. You know how we grew up where we were told, like, for me, I'm the firstborn in the family. So I was responsible for all my siblings to make sure they eat. When mom is at work, I'm the one responsible for feeding my siblings and taking care of them, cleaning after them. But Vadeo is saying, no roles here, whether a boy or girl, we are supposed to be doing all, like, clean after yourself, do something. So we are seeing the difference, like, in this generation, in the way we grew up. What's your
correct.
take on it?
My take is that you know every minute, every hour, as time passes by, things change, right? My take is that as parents, we should be flexible. We should be flexible and be adaptable to the environment that we live in. I'm sure if I go back to where I was born in Cameroon and all whatnot, I don't think the parenting style is still the same. They must have moved a little step further from what we grew up in. So, to me, the whole point should be, respect their opinion and look at where they're coming from. Listen to them, be patient, so that you can understand why they're doing certain things. And also, um, even if you're, assigning chores at home or do X, Y, Z, take into consideration their own life, right? If yes, we grow up. I know in our time you were not supposed to say yes or no, just do it. But here, if a child is going to school, they're working, they're doing different things, take all that into consideration. But at the same time, remind them that you're doing all these things. You have to allocate time for house chore, because one day you're going to become independent too, and you're still going to have all this responsibility
Yes.
and your house chore to do.
Yes.
We're training you to be better. So integrate this into your program. Right now, you're having this luxury or this luxury now because you're living here. When you be by yourself, you have to still do all what you're doing and still take care of this thing that you're not doing now. So by learning how to do it now, you're making a better future for yourself. And it will be what we're training you as parents to come out not only as successful academically or career wise, but successful in your own home as well. That's what I would say.
Yes.
And also, sorry to interrupt. And also, I want to add a little note to that. Train your boys to know how to cook. That's another. So when you're saying, "Oh, learn how to manage your own home," to be an adult, you need to know how to make food for yourself. So I think that as Africans, we need to start teaching the boys to enter the kitchen and know how to make meals for themselves, because not only do they need to cook for themselves, when there's no food at home, and let's say, oh, they're depending on the wife, but the wife is not home, you need to make a meal for your kids.
They do take away.
You need to.
Anyway, I will add on that point that it all depends how you grow up, right? Like she's saying that I'm in the kitchen sometimes. It depends on the circumstance. Like growing up as a child, I was always in the kitchen. Like this is bringing back not important. Like when I was still young, I remember my mom when she was cooking. I was always there, and I saw how she was cooking, and I learned how to cook like granite soup when I was still like less than 15 or 13. So it all depends on where you came from, and it depends on the interest of the child, right? I know in the Western world it's different. It's 50-50. Men, women have to be the same. But culturally, like believe it or not, we all have our culture, but certain things we can copy, certain things we shouldn't copy. But I think the one of equating gender equity should be relooked. Also, depending on, like, if you look back, it was mostly the men that worked. The women were not working. They were stay-home mom and stuff like that. So which created that kind of construct, societal construct. But here is different. The man works, the woman works. So
totally different. And when we talk about culture shock, is especially talking about the African way of socialization, especially that's why we are saying parenting in this 21st century is actually a mental challenge for parents as well as kids, because so many families are into conflicts and problems. Talking about what you are saying as a dad cooking for your family, it's a challenge for some men or dads who grew up in the context where they were told cooking and cleaning is a woman's job, it's a girl's job, and not for them. I know of a family, they came from our country, Africa, then coming into the Western world concept, the dad was used to have the sisters and the mom do the chores because he's a man. So when they came here, mom has to go to work. He was left with the kids. They have to change the diaper. Dad has never changed diapers before.
Yeah.
He has to prepare the milk for the child bottle and feed them. But he would wait for mom to come from work with the child. When you leave a diaper so it may even cause some rashes and everything. And then it was overwhelming for mom to come from 7 to 7 shift and then come and start another shift of cleaning up, of cooking, of washing dishes and everything. Do you know, as we speak right now, they divorced because it started with that concept of misunderstanding. And also they did not get enough counseling and give themselves time or counseling. So it mounted and mounted, conflict after conflict, and then
the culture shock,
divorce.
Okay.
So it's one of the main things, actually. It's kind of difficult for families if they are not careful. So we are encouraging families, actually, if ever you have problems, please reach out for help. There are counseling services. Mr. Herman here can also help you as a mental health consultant. And also create space to listen and communicate. Don't be silent and suffer because it may have bad consequences. So Vadel, this generation,
Yes.
social media, you all have those WeChat and all these TikTok and some, maybe some of the platforms that we don't even know.
Yeah.
But does it affect the way you communicate with your parents or the way you express your feelings to your parents?
Um, no, I wouldn't say that it does. I think that it facilitates communication even. Like let's say we have a family group chat, you can easily just like share something on it or take a picture or share like common information. I think that somewhere where there was a bit of tension was where I think this was like probably a few years ago, but it was when like cuz my dad is more of a formal person, right? So like a text message had to look like an email. And then
Mm-hmm.
when it didn't look like an email, he was like, "Why are you sending me like a regular text message?" I'm like, "Because it's WhatsApp and it's not an email." It is not. Yeah. So then after that he was like, "Oh, maybe I'm being a bit like old school," and then he started letting go of it. But I think that's really the only thing. It's just like maybe like let's say for my friends, like when I'm talking to my friends, it's just like, "Oh, hi," like na na na, na, or you get to the point about this. But then like obviously it's not just about like my personal preference of communication. I also have to take into account like his perspective and what he would like. So like, I usually start the basic conversation with hello, how are you? How's your day going? Everything. That's the polite, respectable way to start. It's just like I had to put myself into that habit because I was used to like when I was texting, I just get like hi straight to the point.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously you don't do that with everybody. And I think the fact that he made me aware of that just increased my professionality in general.
Do you think technology is actually disconnecting or connecting families? Because most of the time, our kids mostly they are online. Most of the parents sometimes we are offline, or um, like for example, you are in the house. Instead of having a normal conversation as family, you text, "Can you bring me some water?" But you are in the same house.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
maybe, I don't know, some families, they don't even have time anymore to sit and have a dinner or proper meal as a family. Each one audition, go to their rooms, and or sometimes we are on the table for dinner, but we all have these
Gadget.
cell phones, and
Mhm.
instead of having a normal conversation, you are eating and you are,
Taking on your cell phone.
yes. Do you think technology is disconnecting or connecting families?
Uh, I actually think it does both. Yeah, I have a different take on this. I actually think it does both. Um, the first part is that I look at it with the lens of as a parent of being curious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Curiosity in the sense that uh, I look at technology as bringing the world into your home without really bringing strangers into your home without really knowing who these strangers are. If
Mm-hmm.
you look, for example, TikTok, WhatsApp, or YouTube, they're going on, they're watching people all over the world. They're in your home, in their bedroom where they're sleeping. I mean, they're with them 24. You don't know these people,
Yes.
right? So it makes me curious. It also makes me, a sense of afraid,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, panic,
Yes.
but at the same time, I look at it in another sense. Let it them be, because at one point they have to leave the house.
Mm-hmm.
They have to
Mm-hmm.
face the world.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be what they want to be in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like asking question. What are you watching? What are you doing? Like, at a certain age, you have to control more, like parental controlling for what they watch. But when you think like they prove to you that they are responsible, you let it go, and you like, for example, I follow her, what she does on her Instagram, and now she's a content producer, and I even shared on my WhatsApp profile, so I support it because I'm curious, and we're having the communication, like, what are you doing, like, it's good. um the other thing I would say regarding disconnect or family offline is what you just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
where people at home, they're on the dinner table, everybody's on their cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a culprit, right? I do I do that sometimes. And sometimes when I do, my son will say, "Oh, Dad, you're not supposed to be on the phone," and
Exactly.
because I tell him to watch. When we're eating, the TV is supposed to be off.
And even not
Yes, no TV,
cell
no
phones as
cell
well,
phone,
so that we
something
can
like
have
that.
a
Yeah.
normal conversation as
Yes, no
family.
conversation. We're trying to do that. It's a bit hard, but we're trying to make some rules. No TV, even if he's eating alone, or no TV,
Mm-hmm.
no cell phone. We try to eat as a family. It's hard, but we try to eat together most of the time. But I look at technology, cell phone, as it's a double-edged sword. This is it. You can't deal without it. But how do you deal without it, um without how do you deal without how do you deal with it and continue to be a good parent?
Mm. Because you can't set an example to your children. You can't tell them no cell phone on the table when you are doing it as well.
The opposite.
That's when they will ask the question, why?
Why?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about balanced ways of using technology? What would be the healthier ways and balanced ways for families to use technology?
I think that, for example, like something like a movie night, like that's a nice way to use technology. That's a nice bonding moment. Um, I think like even in terms of communication or creating group chats or just giving each other a call, I think those are positive ways to use technology.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't really, I mean, it can definitely go bad when everybody's always on their phone and like on the dinner table you're on your phone. But I think personally in our family we have like that understanding that like when you're having a full family dinner, it's disrespectful to start to get on your phone and obviously scrolling when you're with like everybody, and like there's been time taken to make a meal, to make sure we're all together and talk and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that understanding is there. And then yeah, once in a while like there'll be like a call or notification that comes that maybe someone has to answer, an emergency. But I think that in terms of our family personally, we have that general understanding of like what is disrespectful in terms of where you cross the bounds of technology.
From your experience
Mhm.
and your profession, and also being a dad,
Mhm.
what have you learned about mental health from your daughter about this generation?
I've actually really learned that I'm gonna comment the young, because they are more open when it comes to mental health. Um, if you go like online, you have anxiety group, depression group, ADHD, different. Even on TikTok, you see all those things. That's it. It helps to be open, right? To talk about this thing. By talking about it, you feel better, you feel good. Um, because compared to, I would say, 10, 20 years ago, it was a taboo to talk about mental illness, especially from where we come from.
Mm-hmm.
So I will commend that attitude from them, and I will encourage us as African parents, us as immigrant parents, that mental health is real,
Mm-hmm.
right? In my practice, sometimes I see people come to consult when it's really, really late. They try to cover it up. They find all kinds of explanation. They go to church. I don't say church. This is a bad thing. To try to heal the child, but at the end, they still need help. So it's something to recognize and know that it's real, and seek help when you need them.
Thank you. Do you find it easy or difficult to express your emotions to your parents?
Um, I think I don't usually. The typical emotions I would express are just like happiness or either happiness or just regular. Like I don't think I would go to like my parents and start discussing any type of complex emotions. I think that I'm just like this, and I mean, unless it's like my really, really close friend, but I don't feel comfortable discussing my emotions with people. unless like it's just like, yes, let's have a regular conversation. If we're happy, that's great, everything. But I don't really see the need to. I mean, of course, if I'm in like a really detrimental state, then it's like, okay, I'm feeling like this and everything. And sometimes, I mean, I think anyway, and sometimes I will like I think I've had like a few burnouts, and I think my parents have noticed that. And like I didn't necessarily like I didn't go and like, oh, I'm having a burnout, blah blah blah. But they saw that, they were very, and they were like supportive about it. They were like, oh, are you okay? And then you need to take a break, everything. I think they just they read my body language, and I think they understand that I'm not going to come to them like about crying or anything like that's just, I think they know me for that already. Unlike my little brother, who's very expressive, and he's very like he's going to tell you what is what. If he's not if he's feeling mad, he's going to tell you I'm mad. If feeling sad, he's going to tell you I'm sad. Yeah.
So do you talk to your friends though about your feelings and emotions, or do you just bottle it in?
No, I think that with my closer friends, definitely,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm very hesitant about like opening up to people. I think it's important to open up to your close friends and maybe like your close family members. And yeah, that's important. You need to talk about your emotions. Like for example, of course, with my best friend, we talk about like everything. We talk about our emotions, all of that, but I wouldn't start going to random people and start talking about my emotions. Yeah.
Wow. So, Dad, what advice would you give to parents who are struggling to raise emotionally healthy kids in this fast world?
The advice I will give is that communicate. You know, listen more than you speak. Um, Create a safe space for you and your kids, because by listening, you allow them express their mind, right? You allow them express their mind. And
Mm-hmm.
I've learned this over time with my daughter Vadel. Like she was saying before, at first I was like a hardcore parent, like raise my voice and all whatnot. And I commend you for that. She reflected back on me. I don't like the way you speak to me, you use your voice, and sometimes she would even say, never ask me the way I felt. Like, it struck me right to the heart. Like I always want you to do ABC, or I want you to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really asked you how do you feel about yourself and what are you going through, you know. So just by starting to ask those things and listening and creating that safe space, I think our communication has gotten better. We learn to understand each other better, and we are having a good father-daughter relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would tell parents out there is that listen to your kids. You know, they're not stupid, they're intelligent, they're smart, you can learn from them, and at the same time be a good parent and create that value, that safe space that your family needs.
Thank you. Vadel, what advice would you give to children who feel misunderstood or distant from their parents?
I would tell them to also try to put themselves in the perspective and shoes of their parents, right? So try to understand why they're reacting that way, why they're feeling that way, and why they're communicating that way. To not take like, because I find that a lot of people in my generation, they take a lot of sometimes. Tim, sometimes they take a lot of the things that their parents say like really to heart, like really, really personally, and they ruminate and reflect on it. And it's like, no, try to filter through all of that and get to the point of what was being said and why it was addressed that way. So I think really putting yourself in the perspective and shoes of your parents, especially as immigrant children, it's very important because you can't go and like compare yourself to like the typical Canadian family where like, okay, the parents are parenting this way and that way and that way. No, you have to look at like the history of your parents, the perspective of your parents, what type of parenting did they get? Because they're not learned, like their parenting did not just like bestow, like parenting was not just like bestowed on them randomly, then they just like just took this little package and was like, oh, okay, this is how I will do it. No, they learned from their parents, and then they're also learning from you. So I think it's important to be patient with your parents too, as much as they're trying to be patient with you, and put yourself in their perspective, try to understand them, and try your best to communicate with them because yes, sometimes it's hard to communicate with them, but always keep trying. That's the key.
Thank you. I commend you for starting a non-profit organization for giving back to the community, and I'm so proud of you. Would you tell our audience if they need to give support, where would they reach you?
Yes, if you want to support Cameron's Jewels, just search up Cameron's Jewels anywhere. You'll find it on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You'll find our website too and our shop. And you can also donate on our website. You can reach out to us on any of our accounts. We do really great work and it's very impactful, and the whole team is really committed to this mission, and we're very happy about what we do. So just join us, join the mission, and support us.
Thank you. And Mr. Herman Bruno, would you also tell our audience if they need to reach you for mental health consultation, where would they reach you?
Yes. I will say that if you need to reach our services, it's herjoytelesante.com. No, herjoytelesante.ca. It's an online mental health consultation service. We provide consultation for different mental health services, anxiety, depression, whatever. Just come to the website, you see the services. We also provide service for primary care. So, like I said before, my goal or my mission and my value for being a nurse practitioner is to make sure people get affordable, timely mental health or health services, and you can get that with our service, herjoytelesante.ca.
Thank you. Parenting isn't about raising perfect kids. It's about raising connected hearts. Parents, what children need most is not perfection, it's presence. They don't need their parents to have all the answers. They just need them to listen. Your children aren't looking for superheroes. They are looking for humans who love them, even though through the mess. You don't have to be perfect to be enough. And to every child listening, understand this. Your parents are learning too. They didn't grow up in your world of technology, pressure, and constant comparison. Sometimes they will get it wrong, but that doesn't mean they don't care. Respect your parents' journey the way you want yours respected. Talk to them. They may not always understand, but they always listen. You are growing in a time where mental health matters. So take care of your mind. Don't suffer in silence. And don't forget, your parents' love might not always look trendy or perfect, but it's real. Meet them halfway. Let's build bridges, not walls, between generations, between hearts, and between minds. If you like this episode, please share, subscribe, and follow. Mr. Herman Bono, thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much for providing me with the opportunity to share my parenting style values. I really appreciate and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Vadel. Thank you for coming to our podcast.
Thank you for having us together. Yeah.
And to our viewers and audience, see you next week in our next episode. You have a wonderful day.